Hi everyone, in today's video I'm going to talk about Seiya Close once again. Now Seiya Close has been added to the game for about 2 maybe 3 months now. Obviously I took a lot of time trying to play him in various different modes, and I think I more or less got the hang of it, of how to actually utilize him the best. I think he is one of those characters that can be ridiculously strong when he played correctly. He's a bit unstable, I think. Like sometimes in PvP matches, especially, sometimes he completely, absolutely destroy off the enemy. Like he can total 1 versus 3, 1 versus 4 if you do not get him killed very early on. But sometimes he kind of just dies and disappears straight away at the very beginning. And I'll kind of tell you all about that in this video and kind of what is the right way of actually playing him. So in this video, I'm gonna talk about mainly, I think 3 things. First of all, kind of the role of Seiya Close and how to utilize him, like what's his actual game plan, what is the win condition for him vast majority of the time. Then second point I'm gonna talk about is I am gonna talk about what kind of positioning do you normally want to play. This is mainly because he actually have quite a few different skills that could potentially affect where do you actually want to place him in your team, whether it should be at the front, should it be at the back, etc. And then lastly, I'm going to show some example team. I'm going to do that part kind of showing you first of all some good teammates for Seiya Close, and then I'll give one example of a team. Now, Seiya Close is extremely versatile, so the team I'm going to show you is not necessarily the best, and you can definitely do loads of different variations of it, but I'm going to try to pick one team which kind of demonstrate all of the different good qualities that say a God class is able to do, and just kind of show you, how he would potentially be a very strong meta breaker. All right. Now, starting off with first of all the role Seiya Close should play. Seiya Close plays two roles. Well, three. Actually, Seiya Close play quite a few roles. I think it's 3 roles if I want to be super comprehensive. One, he breaks opening skills. With his skill 2, he basically can break opening skill. So depending on who you're facing opposite, you can use that as a way to, for example, break, say, Sagittarius Seiya or Poseidon's opening skill, etc. You can put and use that. It's not his most definitive role, but he is able to do that. Then the second role is he is massive DPS. He has one of the highest, probably the highest single target ultimate out there, and that basically makes him extremely strong and able to one-shot enemies. At the same time, his skill 3 allow him to have loads of damage reduction, and also I think during the time of his ultimate, he is also immune to damage as well. So basically, what's going to happen is that he not only hits really hard, but he also a lot of time are immune to damage. And when he's immune to damage, as the battle goes on, he gets stronger, and then that makes his ultimate even stronger and stronger as well. So even if his ultimate the first time round is not able to one shot, normally like 20 seconds, 25 seconds in, every single ultimate from him is able to one shot an enemy. So he is ridiculously strong as a DPS. So that's kind of the second role he plays. Then the third role he plays, which I think most people don't realize, is that he is actually probably one of the best debuffer if you play him correctly. And this kind of comes from his skill 3, I think. Yeah, skill 3. When he's hit, there's a 50% chance where he will do an attack to all of the enemies with all bonus effect for normal attacks. So basically, this is an AoE attack, and it have all of the bonus effect for normal attack. So if you actually stack him up with the right ally, which are actually able to have some bonus effect with each attack, then he actually becomes a very strong debuffer, an AoE debuffer, because he can hit everyone. So that's another thing where you have to be aware of, as that's kind of the third hat he wears. And in terms of the ones that have good bonus effect, there will be all of the ones which have those normal effects. So for example, there's this one, a dragon with an armor, which can reduce healing. There's also the ones like this one, which for example inflict burn. There's also this one which inflict poison. Where is it? this one inflict poison. So there's also ones which are this, which are only for normal attack, but he benefits from that with his skill 3, because his skill 3 counters an AoE normal attack. There's also other ones which I don't have it equipped, but there's ones like this. For example, every single hit. Okay, sorry, no, this one. What is it? This one. For example, every single normal skill attack, there's a chance to remove buff. So you can use that as a way to remove an enemy's buff. So that's also very strong. There is also this one potentially. This one basically reduces the target's attack by 1.5 seconds when dealing damage there. Although this one, as I find it very situational because this one won't be too AoE focused because only the first 8 attack landing in battle will trigger this effect. And what Seiya Goku is gonna do with his skill 2, which is he's gonna enter do at the start of the battle. So what's actually gonna happen is that your first 8 attack is always gonna end up on the person you are dueling, and as a result, all of your attack reduction from this Alaya, sorry, not this one. From this Alaya, the warrior exclusive one, all of that will just be end up reducing the attack of the enemy that you are actually gonna do. So that could potentially be what you want to do. For example, if you are in a mirror match against another, say, a god class, then potentially you want to place this because now what's gonna happen is that you severely reduce, permanently reduce that enemy say go close attack by 8 times 1.5, so that's 12% for the remainder of the battle. So that could be very, very strong as well. But it really depends on whether you want to inflict it on AoE basis or just on a single target. So, but yeah, so that's kind of the third role Seiya Goku's plays, which is he actually plays the role of a debuff at the same time as well, which many people don't actually realize. Now, what is the game plan for Seiya Goku then? So the win condition for Seiya Goku is obviously for him to kill off the enemies one by one. His ultimate is totally capable of doing that. But for his ultimate to actually capable of doing that, what you actually require is that he needs to stack up of his attacking buff, and that can only be done for every single time he actually do a hit. So basically, what that means is that you need to survive long enough for him to attack enough time for his all of those attacks to stack up. Now, obviously, he already have a really good kit which allow him to survive long, which is his skill 3. There's a damage reduction of 50, of a certain amount. Is it from his clothes? Yeah, doing the Night of Hope, he takes 50% less damage. So there's a 50% damage reduction at an interval of 2 seconds whenever it's triggered. And also his level 30 of his clothes, there's also that any damage he is taken is going to be reduced and capped at 10%. So all of those are great effects which really help you to make sure that he survives long enough. However, you probably still want some additional help, and that's where some potential good teammates could come in. Would be knights that would be actually be able to make sure your say a gold close is able to survive for a bit longer. The best partner for say a gold close is actually going to be Shuru gold close if you do play say a gold close up front, because I think that is he's pretty much the best protection a front row tank is able to offer. So Shuru gold close is definitely a great partner for him. Obviously, it's expensive to build, but otherwise, just your generic healers and protection like Casino Goggles, Aris Mu, Aris Surplus Shun, all of them are great characters. Hound Asterion as well, for example, right? All of them are very, very good characters that you could try to do in order to just make sure that your Seiya Goggles actually survive long enough. The other thing that you can do is remember his win condition is not only is that he needs to be able to one shot, and basically every single time when he reach an ultimate he's able to one shot an enemy, etc. So obviously one way of doing that, like I said, is waiting for his own buff to stack up so he hits extremely hard. The other way of doing it is just potentially some other debuffer to help out with all of the damage and just make Seiya Goku stronger. And it's you probably don't realize this, but because he hits extremely fast, what's going to happen is every single hit increases attacking speed by 5% up to 100%. And what that basically means is that it's not just every single hit hits harder, he attacks a lot more frequently as well. He attacks twice as fast. And also from his duel, he start off with further increase of attacking speed, which is also retained even after the duel ends. So he is actually one character which is going to benefit a lot from stats. And this is something I found from personal experience when I got him. He is only at 15 star. I maxed out Constellation and close straight away because I was saving up for him. But he was only at 15 star because obviously after 7 days you get another copy. So I'm not going to waste that, right? So I only got him to 15 stars at the very beginning, and it's only after the first 7 days when I got the other free copy I decided to make him 16 star. However, when I played him at only 15 star versus when I played him at 16 star, absolutely massive difference. At 15 stars, he may not be able to one shot. He sometimes dies too quickly against Aphrodite because he hits a lot harder, a lot more frequent, and therefore he get poisoned a lot quicker as well. And he was just not performing too well, and that's kind of why in my initial review of Seiya GC, I wasn't a great fan of his performance in PvP. I found it way too unstable. However, as soon as he makes it into 16 star, completely max out, absolute game changer. He is able to perform the role a lot more consistently. He just hits a lot harder. There are lots of enemies I previously didn't imagine I would be able to one shot based on his performance when I first got him. Now he's totally capable of doing so. Obviously, I also fine tuned a few other things as well. But I'm just saying stats is was very very importantly on him, and that's why if you do have the resources to make his clothes to go to level 40, he's worth it because every single one extra attack point on him is actually gonna mean an extra, I don't know, however much. It's gonna worth at least twice as much because it hits twice as fast. It's also gonna worth every single one of them is gonna worth an additional 3 times as much because every single hit his attack is gonna be increased. So at face value, assuming his buff is already stacked up, every single one extra attack point on him, one extra attack stat is actually worth equivalent of 6 attacking stats after the first, I don't know, 20, 25 seconds, etc. So that's kind of why he is one of those characters which is going to be very, very important for you to be at high level, so that you get those additional stats. And therefore, some of the good ways of how you can do that is, for example, like I said, max out on his clothes. Constellation's another one, right? Normally, I don't recommend going. So, for example, for those of you who don't know, Constellation, the max Constellation is not actually 9 out of 9. 9 out of 9 is when you actually unlock those stats, but you can actually go just further. So, for example, you can see a +1 icon here. You can actually make every single constellation up to +3. So that's basically 4 copies. So you have start off with +0 and you go all the way up just to +3. So basically what that means is that the maximum number of constellation someone can have is not actually 9 out of 9, it's actually 36. So obviously every single one of them doesn't give you any new skill, but it does give you some extra ability. For example, this one gives you extra haste, which is very good. So all of this are very important because every single additional stats on say a go close, it's actually worth 6 times of what's actually going to be. So that's something to bear in mind. So any opportunity where you can make him stronger, do it. There's also the Land of Trials. If you focus on just warrior class, you can make your Seiya class a lot stronger. And if your Seiya class is stronger, with higher stats, etc., he's actually able of 1v5, provided he survived the first 15, 20, 25 seconds, etc. So definitely worth it. The other way of doing it is through your teammates, and also Alaya, of course. Obviously, you do want the right Alayas to equip them, but Alayas, on top of the skills, they also have loads of different stats. So, for example, for the purple ones, normally at level 30, you actually get the maximum skill effect possible, but every one afterwards from level 30 to level 40, you still get additional stats bonus. And I just maxed them out because I know Seiya Gokus need all those additional stats bonus. And the last point I was going to mention is that the other way of doing that is also based on your other teammates. So if we bring other debuffers or buffers onto a team, then that could also extrapolate and enlarge exactly what's the stats difference say a god class is going to have. So for example, one of the best one I use, and I personally think she's super underrated, is Mermaid Tetris. Mermaid Tetris is absolutely amazing. Mermaid Tetris at maximum close, level 30 close. It's going to give, I think, like 30% extra attack to say a Goku, well, actually, no, 30% of Mermaid Teta's attacking stat added to say a Goku, and also 30% of Mermaid Teta's defense and dodge and crit, etc. All of those are amazing stats for your Seiya Goku to have. And if you have that, you can win off the mirror matches. You can win some of the really untouchable dueling scenarios. For example, if you're up against Aphrodite, uh, normally what happens is that's a really tough matchup for Seiya Goku because Aphrodite poison him with debuff. So I think that each poison reduced it by I can't remember, but let's say 10% whatever. So 3 stacks of poison, which I think is the maximum amount stacks of poison Aphrodite is going to do is going to be 30% debuff. And you will say, okay, fine, you will say Goku is now going to enter a battle against Aphrodite with a 30% debuff, and a lot of time your say Goku is actually going to die because it's not only the debuff, you also take damage from the poison, etc. And also, Aphrodite actually heals from the poison, so it's actually just all around it a really tough matchup for say Goku, and that's kind of why a lot of people actually put Aphrodite opposite say Goku because that's a good counter for say Goku. However, if you have Mermaid Tetris, with all those additional stats, you even the battlefield completely. And now I actually don't think Seiya Goku is going to be a really good matchup against Aphrodite because Aphrodite is one of those characters you want to kill off early on. The earlier you kill him, the shorter amount of time his poison is going to stack up, and the more beneficial it is for the rest of the team. So all of a sudden, with Momotetsu, you're able to turn that match completely around from a very, very unfavorable matchup for Seiya to actually a good strategy for your Seiya to kill off the Aphrodite very quickly. So, once again, it just kind of shows the extra stats totally matters for Seiya and that's kind of why you really want every little bit of help that you can get in order to make his stats higher because every single stats on him is going worth so much more in comparison to other characters. All right, so that's basically the way of how you should correctly play Seiya Now, the next thing I'm going to talk about is positioning. Now, position is slightly different to team because I will talk later on in the last section about what are the good teammates. I mean, I already mentioned a few, but I'll also talk about it, and also how you can actually form a proper team together. However, there's also things that you want to consider purely from positioning point of view, and that's because Seiya Goku actually have quite a few different skills which are dependent on position, and those are all gonna be in effect when you consider where to place Seiya Goku. So the skills that affect his positioning, it's obviously his skill 2, right? His skill 2, you face the enemy in the same position, so i.e. the opposite direction to him. So therefore, if you do want to use it to break an enemy's opening skill, then potentially you want to play him there. But then you also have skill 3, which is basically every single time when he takes damage, he has a percentage chance to release this really strong AoE attack, which can be used as a debuff. And we all know knights at the front take normal attacks. Knights at the back doesn't take any normal attack. So if I actually want to trigger this very quickly, say a Goku should be at the front, right? That's just a no-brainer. So say a Goku should be at the front. And then you also have things like this, which is basically aim at the target, which has the highest attacking power, highest attack stat, his ultimate, aims at one with the highest attack stats. So now what's going to happen is that actually maybe if you want to really quickly kill off an enemy, what's actually the right way of you doing that is you have your Seiya Goku facing opposite to the enemy with the highest attacking stats, because now what you can do is first of all you take some damage out of him when you are dueling him, and then straight away right after the duel, normally what's going to happen is because you're attacking so much faster, your Cosmo is going to be full, and therefore you release your ultimate almost right after your duel, and now you better end up hitting the exact same opponent because you're already facing opposite him, and so now you're actually able to one shot that person because he already took a lot of damage from the duel with against Seiya Goku, and now he has to take his ultimate as well, and that's normally going to be enough to kill off the enemy. So now it's actually going to be very interesting. It's like there's so many different variations of where you may potentially want to position Seiya Goku, right? So my advice on this is try to place him at the front if possible. Oh, and also his skill full kind of affects that as well because you want him to survive longer, and also because he's a warrior, he's not a tank. His defense is still somewhat average. So as a result, maybe you don't want to place him at the front left, even though front left takes the most hit and can trigger his skill 3 the most. Maybe actually what you want to do is place him on the front right, so he takes slightly less damage and then therefore stack up his skill 4. So all of this you have to take into consideration. But my suggestion first of all is have a think about. I generally prefer to place him up front rather than at the back because I really want to trigger his skill 3, right? This is AoE, especially because I know how to play it right with the right ally, to debuff the opponent. I sometimes change up the ally depending on the enemy team, etc. But this is a very, very strong ability, so I really want to activate that. So I normally prefer to play him up front, um, rather than at the back. And when I do place him up front, I then will take a look at the two enemies and then have a think about which one do I actually then want to break in terms of the opening skill. If there happens to be a character with an opening skill, then I would like to break him. For example, the best one I would like to personally face up front is going to be Poseidon. Because Poseidon have this opening effect where he bounce off damage, and also he is a lot of time placed up front. If you see a Poseidon up front, I would 100% put my Seiya Goku up against that Poseidon because that's going to be the best position. You are taking advantage of both your skill 3 and also your skill 2. So basically, that's kind of the decision you can make when you do position your Seiya Goku, is that all his 4 skills kind of are dependent on his positioning. So have a think about which position when you place him would be able to benefit the most out of his full skill, and that's normally going to be the best one to do. The other point I want to make is the impact of the duel. So when you place him, because the enemy opposite him will also enter duel, and he will also attack with that increased speed. However, during that time, he can only do normal attack. What's that normally gonna mean? Is that character is not gonna be his skill releases is normally gonna be delayed because normally you release your looping skill at around 5 second mark, whereas duels for 6 seconds. So you basically delay that person's when they're able to release their looping skill. However, because they have attack more frequently, that character that you're facing normally can release ultimate faster. So therefore, normally in a normal battle where Cosmo no one has increased Cosmo, etc. What's normally gonna happen is that your Seiya Goku would hit first with his ultimate because he has the highest attacking speed increase. He gets 100% attacking speed increase. However, the one you're facing opposite, because he get 50% attacking speed increase, he tend to release ultimate the second fast. So that's something to bear in mind. And that can potentially also change how you may want to position your character. Because for example, let's say you have Aris Mu opposite you. If you use say a god close up against Aris Mu to break his, well, not doesn't break anything because he doesn't have opening skill. But say you are actually dueling the enemy Aris Mu, what's going to happen is Aris Mu won't be able to put up his crystal wall so early on. So therefore, you are delaying when he's putting up crystal wall, which could be beneficial to you. However, at the same time, he's going to release his ultimate faster, and when he do release his ultimate, he is going to blind off your back row. So let's say if you actually have a DPS in the back row, remember Aris Mu is going to attack, reach ultimate, release ultimate before your other units. So now what's going to happen? Let's say if you have a DPS at the back, and he's about to release his ultimate. Unfortunately, Aris Mu is going to blind him before he can release your ultimate, and therefore that makes your other character's ultimate completely useless. Well, your other back row's ultimate completely useless. Another good example would be Hound Steering, right? If you are dueling him, which is not necessarily a bad idea because Hound Steering is quite fragile in terms of the support unit. However, Hound Steering's ultimate is actually able to silence the enemy. So are you sure you want to do that? On top of that, Hound Steering already have a natural passive which give him increase Cosmo gaining speed. So now potentially he will even release ultimate before Seiya God Close, and your Seiya God Close can then be silent. So that's also going to be a potentially a bad decision. So those are all the things you need to consider. The last example I'm going to give is going to be Sagittarius Seiya. Now, Sagittarius Seiya, it may be a good candidate for duel because you'll be then breaking his opening skill, which is always nice. However, what's that going to happen is that you're going to increase his when he will be releasing his ultimate, and we all know how strong Sagittarius Seiya's ultimate is able to do. That's an AoE attack, especially if you have a Seiya Shun combo, which I talked about that before, one of the best combo in the game. That's gonna hurt a lot. So is that a decision you want to do? Do you really want to trade off breaking his old opening skill versus actually allowing him to shoot out his ultimate much faster, potentially before some of your other protection skills are in place? That's all decisions you need to make, and I can't really tell you what is the best one to do. It's all case by case, depending on who's your opponent and what's kind of the interaction between your characters, and their characters. But those are kind of some of the things that you really have to consider when you do decide where to put your Seiya God Close. All right, now let's talk about actual team formations for Seiya God Close. Now, I did mention Seiya God Close is super versatile, so you can pretty much play him in any team you want. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to first of all demonstrate some of the good pairing or good combo, good knights that should be in the same team, or would be good choices in the same team as Seiya God Close. But then later on, I will also give you just one example team, right? It may not necessarily be the best team for Seiya God Close, but this is one example where I can demonstrate the various different synergy Seiya God Close would have in that team. All right, so let's start off with some of the good teammates. So one type of teammates you may want on your team is the ones that you are able to protect your Seiya God Close to make sure that he survives long enough in order to stack up all of those attacks, etc. So what you can do is you can bring the likes of your Iris Mu, your Athena God Close, you can bring Surplus Shun, and then my favorite partner, even though I have him at very low level, is going to be God Close Shuru. If this is the case, you normally want to place in this kind of position. God Close Shuru first because it's the main tank. You don't have a single God Close and all of the other protection at the back. This is a very strong team, which is all about making sure your Seiya God Close survive, and therefore make just kind of survive for the first 20-25 seconds. Make sure you wouldn't die then because you have four protection knights, and then afterwards overturn the battle because the Seiya God Close will have all of those buffs built up and now capable of one-shotting the enemy. Very strong team. Potentially one of the best team in the guild wars because this team is going to be extremely hard to kill. You have four protection knights, right? And also potentially, say God Close can at least kill off one of your knights, one of the enemy knights as well. So it's going to be very, very hard to get 3 stars against this team in guild war. Normally, probably you will only be able to get one because the battle would be longer than 30 seconds, and also at least one of your knights will be one-shotted by, say, a God Close, right? Extremely, extremely powerful team for guild battles, and this is kind of utilizing four teammates who are all able to make sure your Seiya God Close survive for a long time. All right, so that's one example of team. Uh, Other good teammates for Seiya God Close would be some of the buffers. So I'm just going to pick a few, but it'd be someone like your uh, Mermaid Tetas, we already talked about. Every single extra stats point on Seiya God Close is going to worth at least 6 times as much. So very good option if you can make sure your Mermaid Tetas link up with your Seiya God Close. Also, she will increase his Cosmo gaining speed as well. So very, very good because now you can use your really strong one shot ultimate a lot faster. So very good choices. Then you also have God Close, which is always going to be a good choice. You increase the attacking speed of all of your teammates with faster attacking speed, even faster attacking speed. Your Goku Seiya is now able to reach his maximum number of stacks of buff a lot quicker as well. So that's also another very good choice. You could also bring some debuffers. So for example, the likes of your Virgo Shun, your Aphrodite, the idea behind this is that whilst you don't increase your stats any more, the difference between your stats and the enemy stats is going to be larger. So therefore, now every single attack of you is still going to hit a lot more. So it's still going to just extrapolate and enlarge how good your stats are, because the difference is still going to be larger. So that's another good choice. And then lastly, it would be the ones who are able to kind of play your Seiya in more of a debuff role. Remember, his skill 3 is able to potentially debuff all of the enemies, and basically utilize that. You then play some other characters. So, for example, you can play your Aphrodite and Niobe if you want to go for a bit of a poison team, right? You could also do likes of your Leo Iki and also your Babel if you want to go for a burn team, right? Unfortunately, there isn't a freeze team because there isn't a freeze allier, but those are you can definitely do a burn team. And also a poison team with Scott Close set. So those are all of the good choices for how you may potentially want to play. Oh, another one which is also potentially interesting is gonna be the classic Seiya Shun combo. And the reason why this is going to be really interesting is because right now a lot of characters, a lot of teams, they may employ one opening protection in order to counter uh, the enemy's say a Shun combo. For example, they may play someone like Surplus Shun because Surplus Shun is able to do like an 80% damage reduction. However, what you can actually now do instead is you can actually have your Seiya Goku's facing Surplus Shun to break that. I think Surplus Shun's shield will still be activated on the other four enemy allies. So maybe this wouldn't quite work as nicely, but at least then what it's going to mean is that your surplus shown is not going to be able to put up that 80% damage reduction on himself. And then what Sagittarius Seiya is also able to do is Sagittarius Seiya is able to have a defense reduction when he uses his opening skill. So that would also work almost like a debuffer for say Goku. So this could potentially also be a very interesting combo. So you kind of break the enemy's opening protection for Sagittarius Seiya and also Virgo Shun, and then you have the double debuff from them, so that your Seiya Goku is able to hit a lot harder. So that could also be an interesting one. All right, so those are all some of the really good teammates for Seiya Goku. Now I'm going to show you one team which is previously my PvP team. This is the Poison team, which I found to be very interesting, very strong, and also utilize kind of all of the points I just mentioned. And the team was this. So this is a team based on both poison and also protection. The idea behind this is quite simple. You have two protection knights, who is Arismu and the Sinan Gokos, who is kind of able to protect your whole team. And because one would have the damage reduction from the ultimate, one have the looping skill damage reduction. So almost vast majority of the battle, you will have one damage reduction of some sort. And then that greatly benefit both your Aphrodite and also your Seiya Gokos, because both of them are characters who will benefit as the battle go on. As you stack more poison, as you get more attacking buff, etc. So that's kind of already a good synergy here. I also place my poison rose Alaya on Seiya Gokos so that he has a potential to poison off the enemies. And when he poison off the enemies, Aphrodite because Aphrodite is on field, all the poison would be debuffed, damage over time is going to be increased longer. It can also turn into healing, so there'll be so many different ways to utilize all of the poison that your Seiya Goku is able to inflict on all of the enemies. So that's also another really good synergy. There's a good synergy from your Mermaid Tetes with your Seiya Goku as well, which I already explained many times in this video. There's also your Mermaid Tetes constellation, which is also able to restrict the enemy. So by restricting enemy, you are going to weaken how much damage they're able to do, therefore make your team survive longer. And also when you restrict that with Binding Coral, I think that's the name of the skill, you are also going to poison that person as well. So that's another form of inflicting poison, and all of that is going to be very strong because Aphrodite is here. Now, both Aphrodite and Seiya are up front because Aphrodite is able to poison the enemy as they attack, and Seiya have the chance to trigger skill 3, which is also able to poison all of the enemies. So another very good consistent way of you inflicting poison. So this is a perfect example of how you may want to play say a gold class. You can't have the synergy from extra buff, you have the synergy from extra debuff, you have the synergy from all of your opening protection to make sure your say a gold class stay longer in the battle. So this is going to be one really good example of say a gold class. But like I said, there could be loads of different ways of how you may want to play him. So yeah, so this is gonna be my guide for Seiya God class. Let me know in the comment section below if you are playing him in any other ways. Do let me know because I do think he has a lot of potential. So if you find another interesting way of how to play Seiya God class, then please do let me know in the comment section below.